you know, and create a lot of problems for the team. You know, I think we can see that in the last few leagues game. You know, but for me at this point in time, I'm quite happy with the boys' discipline. You know, so far they only have 3 yellow cards, but I think I prefer the 3 points. So hopefully the boys, you know, I mean that's football. You know, as long you go out there, give your 100% and put in the extra effort. You know, I think I would rather have the 3 points.
Great to hear from both coaches. Rathi doing a sterling job down their pitch side. She'll be speaking to the managers after the game, as well as we welcome Geylang International on to the Jurong East Stadium. As Rathi mentioned, last season it was a disaster for them here against Albirex Niigata. 2 red cards in that game on the opening day of the season. They lost 4-0. Albirex Niigata, the defending champions, but they weren't very impressive here last time out in their game before the international break, when Marko Krajovic's Balestier Kausa held them to a goal to straw, and arguably the Tigers were unlucky to come away from there without all 3 points. So Alberex's 100% record gone. They can still go back to the top of the table with a win today, but only a win will do, with both the Sailors and Hougang winning yesterday. Hougang recording that incredible 5-1 win against Tampines Rovers. And of course, after the first 3 match days produced no red cards, there were 2 yesterday by Haki, seeing red for Tampines in that 5-1 drubbing, and of course Amaral seeing a pretty needless red for 2 yellow cards for the Sailors. Our match officials, led by referee Zulfikar Mustafa, conducting the top. There will be a minute's silence before this match to commemorate the very sad passing in the last 24 hours of one of the mainstays of Singapore's national team in the 1970s, that famous team under Chu Sen Kui. Our condolences to the family of Muniandi, who sadly passed away recently. So it's Sunday night sunset football. There's another game, incidentally, live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports as well, so you can switch between games if you'd like. I'll make sure I keep you up to date with what's happening at Topayo, as we wait for the 2 sets of players to get to the centre circle to commemorate the memory of Muniandi Kumar. Last little bits of warm-up to come. Incidentally, just before the minute silence, important team news that Maresh does not start for Geylang today. Maresh dropping down to the bench. That is one of 3 changes that Norali makes to their starting 11. Albirex Niigata with just the 1 change. There's a quick look at Albirex Niigata. Just Ong Yu-in coming in for Fairos Hassan. They're just the 1 change amongst their Singaporean players. And a quick look at Geylang, just to remind you that Izdin, Faris Farhan and Noor Luckman for his first start of the season come in. So that's the team news for you now. We pay tribute with a moment's silence for Muniandi Kumar. Impeccably observed tribute, wonderful touch from the Football Association of Singapore and the AIA Singapore Premier League. Our condolences to the family of Muniandi Kumar, a mainstay of the national team from the 70s. So as we remember a star of yesteryear, we now turn our attention and focus on the stars of today. Can Geylang International, so frustrating in many ways to watch, full of flair and ability, but sometimes not coming up the results that maybe their play merits, get the better of that man's champions. Keji Shijitomi, who kept that proud record that Albirex had Last season, now champions 4 times in the last 5 years. They'll have to deal with a man that's got the ball there and the man that's in the dugout, as you see now, Noor Ali. One of the real characters of Singapore football. He's made some very shrewd close seasons acquisitions, none more so than Silvano Convallius, who got his first goal in Singapore in that 1-1 draw with the Young Lions, and what a score it was. But can the Eagles stop the main goal-scoring threat of Albirex, which is, of course, Kiyoshiro Tsuboi, who's the latest in a long line of top strikers that Albirex have enjoyed over the years, the likes of Jumbo Hoshino, now, of course, with Ballesteros. He's in action today. And yesterday we saw what Tomoyuki Doi can do outside of the Albirex Niigata fold with his hat-trick, the first hat-trick in the Singapore Premier League this season, which scores, but there are pockets of fans observing social distancing just outside the stadium perimeters, and that's where you can some drums and some noise as rather cheaply Albirex win their first set-piece opportunity of the game with Yo Tokiwa over to take it. Tokiwa with plenty of fight in the box for Albirex, no more so than Kunimoto. Tokiwa's corner. Convallius at the near post. It'll go over him, it'll go over everybody. Their headed clearance, though, potentially not the best, and it's drifted back into the area, and it very nearly dropped for Tsuboi. It was a nice lofted pass from the Singaporean Ong Yuen, and they just about deal with it. So we're still scoreless after 2 minutes. They're also underway at Topayo Stadium. Balestier Khalsa 0, Tanjung Pagar United 0. Faisal Roslan on loan from the Lion City Sailors to Geylang this season. Gets it back to Zainal, who's under a bit of pressure here. And that's deflected. It could drop anywhere. It drops to a green shirt, but there's a orange one in Nicky Singh, the other Singaporean in the starting lineup for Albirex there. And Tsuboi, I think he knew deep down he was offside, and Geylang will be able to alleviate the pressure. Incidentally, Geylang has scored the first goal in all 3 of their games this season, but of course, they've only won 1 of them. They scored the first goal against Hougang in a game they were going to lose 4-1. Amy Recha, who's on the bench today. And incidentally, as Geylang get a free kick, of the 4 goals that Geylang have scored this season, Maresha's got 2, Amy Recha's got 1, and Convallius also with the other. 3 of those goals have been scored by players that start on the bench today. Maresh is certainly the player who self-started as a substitute in that game where he scored 2 goals. He came on early due to the injury for Barry Maguire. I spoke to Noor Ali earlier about Barry Maguire. Still no concrete time frame on his return. The feeling is he'll miss the first round of the season. And when I say round of the season in Singapore parlance, that means the first 7 games really, because a round is when you play everyone once. With only 8 teams in the division, there are 21 games in a season. You play every team 3 times. Touch for Takehiro Koga, the Albirex goal. So far, no real clear-cut opportunities created. Convallius wanted it to feet there. You could see his frustration. Harith Kanadi just not on the same wavelength as him there. But what it has done, it's penned Albirex, maybe inadvertently, quite deep into their own final third, so they'll have to fashion clearing this. Kosuke Chico only gets it as far as Convallius, who's onside here, Convallius. Absolute unit, isn't he? Going to be very difficult to dispossess, and possesses a spectacular shot as that's over the keeper. Koga, I don't think, realised where that was going, and they've had to get it behind for a corner to Geylang. So the first piece of uncertainty in an Albirex defence that's usually so rock solid and secure. Speaking of Albirex, the man that led them to their last title prior to Keiji Shigetoma taking over. Announcement this week that he's coming back to the club after a stint in charge of the Albirex Niigata Japanese team. So they'll be welcoming back Yoshinaga Kazukai to the Jurong East Stadium as Ichikawa gets ahead on that, but can't keep it down, and it's behind for a goal kick. But That will encourage Geylang, because I suppose in hindsight, that opening day of the season win against Hougang, a game in which they won by 3-1 and never really looked in any serious trouble, that result's been made to look a lot better by the results Hougang have got on to achieve post that, with wins over the likes of Tampines and the Lion City Sailors. Ichikawa heads it down to third house, and it gets back to Zainul. But difficult to know what to make of the other Albirex displays, really. 1-3-0 against the Young Lions, and I suppose the Young Lions are an improved team, but they could be in again here. Suboy taken off his toes effectively by Isdin. Business starting to pick up in the middle of the park. Convalius has spotted the run. Well, he spotted the run of Noor Luckman, but Takiwa was alive to it. No clean sheet in their last 7 matches, Geylang, so defence has certainly been their issue. You have to go back an awfully long time. 2010, in fact, till their last win away at Albirex Niigata. They've actually only beaten Albirex twice, home and away, in 24 matches. Which is a pretty miserable record, and as I say, over a decade since they've won away at the defending champions. Ichikawa plays it to Faisal, back to Zainul. Zainul not being pressured really, decides to go long, looking for Convalius and finds him well. Good distribution from Zainul. That ball over the top though was intended, I think, for Noor Luckman, who wasn't running the central channel. He was out on this right-hand side. This is a very busy period for the AIA Singapore Premier League, with the break for the Ramadan Festival coming up. Teams obviously playing yesterday, today, all 8 sides in action over yesterday and today, and they're back in business on Wednesday as well. There's a full programme on Wednesday night, so if you're just getting into the AIA Singapore Premier League, do make sure you join us on Wednesday, because there's some absolute crackers. Balestier Geylang's always a great game. That's at Topayo. Tampines and the Young Lions. How will the Stags respond to that nightmare at Hougang? Hougang themselves have a trip here to take on Tanjung Pagar United. You'd fancy them on current form to win that comfortably, but the game of the week on Wednesday will be the team we're watching now, Albirex Niigata, who go to Jalan Besar to take on the Lion City Sailors. It's a mouth-watering prospect. Aurelio Vidmar's big spenders against the defending champions. Albirex trying to play it out from the back with Kurimoto. There's some space in the middle of the park for Chiku to find a ball, and it's a miscue. So Geylang, and I'm sure Noorali, will be very happy with what they've seen through these first 8 minutes, as we continue to enjoy this Sunday night sunset football after a frantic weekend of action. Thankfully, no lightning warning system here today, after it delayed our kickoff in both matches yesterday by half an hour. And a warm welcome, whether you're watching on Singtel, StarHub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, or OnePlay Sports, or indeed the various online streaming services in the world that are taking this match. Now, Harith Kanadi's got down this left, which he does so well. What's the cross like? Looking for Noor Luckman, and Noor Luckman gets there and wins a corner quite intelligently, I think. I believe that's what he was trying to do, and Tokiawa didn't really know what was happening with the ball there, so that's intelligent football by both Harith Kanadi and Noor Luckman. They're enjoying some success down the flanks here, Geylang. And they'll pick up their second corner of the match here at the Jurong East Stadium. It's going to be Faris Farhan to whip this in. That's a bit of a height mismatch in that 6-yard box, but he's making a bit of a nuisance against Koga. Delivery's decent, heads are up. Oh, I think that was a green shirt that kept it out. Well, the closest he'd come to a goal, and it may well have been 1-0, if not for, I think, a Geylang player stopping the flight of the ball, because I don't think Koga was entirely sure where the ball had gone. Replay will be interesting. Let's have a look at this. It was a good corner. The header came in, and it was Elijah Lim who effectively stopped the ball, continuing its trajectory goalwards. Harith Kanadi very busy, losing out in that 50-50. But Geylang are going to be encouraged by what they've seen here. They'll have studied that tape of the Balestier game and realised that this Albirex team might not be the kind of all-conquering Japanese side that we've seen in the past, as referee awards a free kick for the foul on Ong Yuen. Of course, that's not to really decry Albirex chances. In last season, people thought they were vulnerable. They still managed to win the title somehow after Tampanese's inexplicable slip-up here against Tanjung Pagar United, which was really the defining moment of the season. That red card for Jordan Webb, that was handball there. Isdin Shafiq wasn't going to go away with that. Good spot by the referee, who may have been assisted, I think, by his assistant in that call. Zulfikar Mustafa, the referee today. Have to say, I think the referees, after, as is so often the case, criticism in their direction, both had good games yesterday. I don't think anyone could complain about either of the red cards. So credit where it's due to the officiating yesterday. We call it out when it's bad. We've got to give credit when it's good. And I think we all have to accept as well, it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job trying to stop Albirex Niigata, though, here. Taniguchi waiting for support to arrive in the area. Taniguchi needed to get past Darren Tay. Went back, now it's found support with Tezuka. Taniguchi, lovely touch inside. Ball rolls on to Nicky Singh. Just couldn't control it, Nicky Singh. And an opportunity now after the foul by Chiku for Geylang to alleviate the pressure. Still goalless at Tapaya. Balestier Khalsa 0, Tanjung Pagar United 0. Yes, referee Liang yesterday, it was at Hougang. And just consult my notes because I was at Jalan yesterday. Mr. Y. Sathya Kumar was the official at Jalan for the Lion City Sailors' victory against the Young Lions. So full marks for the officiating so far this weekend. Let's hope for more of the same. As Takiwa with the throw. Certainly don't appear, on the evidence I've seen so far this season, to be creating chances in as great a number as they did before. That ball is going to be a challenge, but a challenge met by Takiwa to keep it in. So Darren Tay's got some work to do to stop Takiwa getting the cross, and then Darren Tay's turn inside out. Lovely cross from Takiwa. It's deflected, still into the path of an orange shirt, and they haven't cleared it yet. Was that handball? Hacked away finally. Some uncertainty this time in the Geylang International penalty area after Darren Tay was turned inside out by Takiwa. That's a poor pass. Now Silvano Convalius shows his class, finds a man in space. The following pass, though, not up to the same high standard, unfortunately, from Elijah Lim. Kunimoto. Chiku. Nice layoff from Yamashita. And now the skipper, Hashioka. Hashioka looking for Suboi. Darren Tay gets a very intelligent header to that and guides it back to Zainul. Of course, a lot of talk in the football world this over the last couple of weeks with the international break. Singapore international team did have a mini camp, which obviously disrupted a couple of clubs' preparations, most notably the Lion City Sailors, who seem to dominate that squad at the moment. The Geylang had their call-ups too, and that's one of the advantages Albirex had. They didn't really have to deal with many departures, if any. Harith Kanadi inside to Ferdhouse. Ferdhouse over the top looking for Noah Luckman. Solid header, confident header by Takiwa. And they end up getting it back to Takahiro Koga in the Albirex goal. Just to remind you of that stat, because it is quite interesting, even though they've only picked up the 4 points from their 3 games so far, and that very disappointing manner of the defeat against Hougang. They scored the first goal in all 3 matches. You can see the Geylang Ultras can't just pick it up on that shot behind the goal. They're playing their drums, getting firmly behind their team. They're actually standing in the end of the field that Geylang will be attacking in the second half. So I wonder if that shows their optimism to where the action's going to be in this game. I wonder if they'll turn around and go at the other end of the stadium at half-time. There are a pocket of Albirex Niigata fans as well. They're in the side of the pitch that Albirex are defending in this first half. But it's one of those stadiums where even though the gates are locked, you can't really prevent pockets of fans who are observing social distancing, it must be pointed out, from enjoying the action here. And why not? Because we're itching for the gates to be open back, because this, I think, is the most intriguing AIA Singapore Premier League season for many years. And I think the appetite for fans to come back into the stadiums will be there after we get through this COVID nightmare, as Ichikawa is pinged for what could be a very costly handball. The referee just wanting to get a grip on this as well. Just telling everyone to calm down is referee Zulfikar. He's still not happy, I think, with something Ichikawa said. Last thing you want is Ichikawa picking up an early yellow card. Seems to have charmed his way out of it. Meanwhile, over the ball, they won't be able to survive this set piece with charm if Kosuke Chiku's delivery is spot on. Keep an eye out on Kunimoto lurking on that far stick. Convalius has now picked him up just out of your camera shot. But Chiku to deliver. Zainal waits. Chiku and Convalius has pushed Kunimoto over there. Well, I wouldn't mind if we've got a camera angle on that. Convalius is asking the question, but Kunimoto, in his defence, didn't appeal for a penalty, but Convalius just seemed to shove him over. Strange situation there. Convalius may have dodged a bullet. Not sure if we can pick it up on the angle. Have a look at Convalius. Well, it wasn't much of a nudge, was it? I think Kunimoto, as he went down, probably knew he was trying to buy one there. So no harm done, but it's certainly, to the naked eye, without the benefit of that replay, looked like it might have been a little bit sinister. Geylang survive. Yamashita. Hashioka over the top to Taniguchi. Oh! Ichikawa with Kunimoto and Nicky Singh on the premises. Nicky Singh most notably. And that was a most peculiar passage of play. Went across everyone. Ichikawa was beaten. Look at Darren Tay here. Well, that was cool as you like. It was slightly cooler than I got in commentary, because Nicky Singh was right behind him, Darren Tay, and he made exactly the right decision, even though it's resulted in them conceding a corner. Game starting to open up ever so slightly here. Takiwa. Look at this 6-yard box here. It's absolutely packed like sardines. And unable to get over that header, I think it was Suboi. And Geylang survive. Well, of course, not often you go 120 minutes without a goal at Jurong East when Albirex Niigata are playing, but that's what we're up and over now. Bearing in mind, the last of their goals against Hougang were scored late in the piece, but not that late, and they were kept goalless here against Balestier. Koga gets it to Tezuka. Over the top from Yamashita. To no one in particular, they certainly don't look to be as free-flowing and fluid Albirex Niigata as they have been in recent seasons. Maybe there's a gradual decline. I hesitate to criticise them last year, because they were champions in what was obviously an extraordinary campaign with the COVID suspension and the games coming back and only there being 2 rounds. I don't think it would be an exaggeration to say, though, that in a 3-round season last year, they may not have been champions. I think the 2-round season helped them. Tampines came here and put in an extraordinary second-half display to demolish them, really. But obviously, themselves, the Stags, falling short in some of what were on paper their easier assignments. But having said all that, if they pick up 3 points here, they'll still be top at the end of match day 4. Tezuka sprays it wide to Hashioka. Hashioka wants to get this back, standing up very well indeed was Elijah Lim in that situation. He's missed out on that occasion, though. And Albirex coming again, laid off by Taniguchi. Gets it to Chiku. Chiku's got the runner out on this left-hand side, that's Takiwa. They seem to be favouring this left-hand side at the moment, Albirex. Takiwa going for the 1-2 with Nicky Singh. Takiwa, Nicky Singh deflected and behind for a goal kick. You can see what Nicky Singh was trying to do. Again, as we tend to debate here, it'll be interesting to see if Ong Yued and Nicky Singh are both substituted at half-time. That has been Albarex's go-to ploy. They do it, though, as again, if you weren't with us in the Balestier game. Had a very interesting debate with Roshan Rai about it, that obviously, even though it's obviously debatable what good it does to the Singapore players, although I think the general consensus is the Singapore players benefit from being in the camp, and they're at a young age to be only playing 45 minutes. Maybe not a disaster. The flip side, of course, is that it's a handicap for Albirex Niigata tactically to always make these two changes at half-time, because it does leave Shigatomi with limited options should anything go wrong in the second half. There's an ambitious ball over the top. Hashioka's not going to get to this. He is, you know, but couldn't quite keep it in. So 20 minutes in, still goalless here. Still goalless at Topayo as well, where they've also played 20 minutes. Balestier Khalsa nil, Tanjung Pagar United nil. Is today the day that Tanjung Pagar United win their first game in knocking on 3,000 days now, as we get a look on Noor Ali. Well, I think we're relatively happy. Seem have created some opportunities. They've not been overrun here. When you look at the possession breakdown of the game so far, Albirex Niigata unofficially just 55% possession, which by their high standards isn't usually the kind of possession expectation they have, certainly at home. Suboy picked up a nice touch there, but can't get it past the solid line of third house in defence, with Faisal Roslan on loan for the Lion City Sailors, also impressing to this point. Haven't seen much of Noor Luckman down this right-hand side yet on his first start of the campaign, but now he's back from injury, I'm sure we'll see him marauding down the right. I say injury, I think I might correct myself there. He has been absent for 3 games. Good to see him back. Zainul finds Harith Kanadi. Harith Kanadi flicks it onto Silvano Convalius. He's having to drop quite deep at the moment, Convalius. On occasions it's Faris Farhan who's almost occupying the centre forward position. Convalius will have to work to control this, and shows great experience to square it to Harith Kanadi, and there was a definite push through the back, but the referee plays advantage. Now will they try and release Noor Luckman? They get it to Darren Tay. That Darren Tay-Noor Luckman combo I'm looking forward to seeing. And here we'll get a chance to see Noor Luckman run at the defence. Noor Luckman, he's got to get past Chiku. Noor Luckman, not good enough in the end, and Koga gathers. And something else when it comes to substitutes we should talk about, it's probably the strongest substitutes bench that Geylang have had all season. The likes of Chris van Heusen, Muresh, of course, already a 2-time goal scorer this campaign. Amy Recker as well has been on the mark. Adam Hakim's a very capable defender. Ikram Rifki as well. So they've got options on the bench of Geylang. So a chance now for Albirex to try and build something, as Balestier Khalsa take the lead at home against Tanjung Pagar United. Balestier Khalsa 1, Tanjung Pagar United 2 in the battle between two teams looking for their first win of the season. And it's Balestier Khalsa who've taken the advantage early on in that one. Tezuka. It's over the top. Harith Kanadi tracks back and wins the goal kick. Much of the frustration of Chiku, who I'm sure was given some polite words of disencouragement from the Geylang Ultra Eagles behind the goal there. As the floodlights come on here for this Sunday night sunset affair. Nicky Singh drops back nicely to pick up possession, and it's sent high from Kunimoto. Isdin looking for Silvano. Oh, just lost that in flight, I think, Silvano Convalius, but he's got it back after a mess up by Hashioka, and that could be a yellow card here. Kazuki Hashioka goes into the book after Silvano had initially misread that ball in flight. His hustle choked up the mistake from Hashioka, and this has given the Eagles a really interesting set-piece opportunity. 24.5 minutes in, just before we take the half-time hydration break in the first half. Have a look at this. Hashioka's touch lets him down, and Silvano rightly appealing for the free kick, and the yellow card came out as well, the first of the game, so Hashioka's now going to have to be careful. And they're going to have to work out how to defend this as well. So, could go direct for goal here. You could try and find the flick on. Lots of options. For Geylang to consider, and Silvano Convalius stands out with his height, waiting to get on the end of this free kick when it comes. And it's headed away by Albirex. Bit of an anti-climax that, after winning the opportunity in such a good position. Got to try and at least make the goalkeeper work in that scenario, as the resulting throw-in and ends up going the way. Well, before we take the throw-in, we will have that hydration break. Yeah, that was a real opportunity there that's come and gone for Geylang after Fariz's effort. Just to tell you that the goal scored for Balestier Khalsa was Faisal Rafi, so Faisal Rafi giving Balestier Khalsa the lead at Topayo. Here, those Albirex Niigata fans, look at that impeccable social distancing from the Albirex Niigata supporters over on that far side. Let's hope the Ultra Eagles social distancing equally as well on the other side of the external reaches of the stadium, as referee Zulfikar brings the players back out to resume, and it will be Geylang with another chance to attack here. Albirex Niigata, who've been in such free-scoring form over recent seasons, struggling really to create too much, if truth be told. On the unofficial shot count, both 5 shots apiece, both had a couple of corners apiece. And they'll get to work something here after a break in play, which may well work to their favour, in fact, to try and catch Albirex cold. Darren Tace trotting over to take the throw. No rush either, Darren Tay, is he? Gets there in the end. He has got a long throw on him, Darren Tay, should he choose, but he comes short to Silvano. Silvano tries to win a corner, does he? No, nice turn, twists and turns, gets a good cross in, and the header is wide from Fariz Farhan. That's the best chance of the game. Wonderful work from Silvano Convalius. Twisted and turned, got the cross in, and Fariz really, I think if that was the other way round and Convalius was on the end of that cross, it would have been 1-0 Geylang. Darren Tay, I thought for all the world that Silvano was just going with a treat corner, but he turned Taniguchi inside out. The cross was wonderful, and once he got there first for his fight, he's going to direct that goalwards. If he gets the glassing header spot on, Koga would have no chance. Koga sends the goal kick very long indeed, and it gets the flick on as well to Taniguchi. Now Taniguchi waiting for Hashioka to run up in support. Over the top from Chika, trying to find Hashioka, who gets there, crosses it to the edge of the area, and Taniguchi scuffs what would have been a wonderfully worked team goal if he could have got the shot on target and past Zainul. Business just starting to pick up here, you fancy. Well, chances at either end in a matter of seconds. But that movement between Taniguchi, Chiku and Hashioka before Taniguchi was presented what by no means was more than a half chance. Get the feeling the first goal might not be too far away. It's a nice run from Suboy, forces a save from Zainul. Well, Suboy's been quiet. He was certainly quiet against Balestier. He's been quiet here in the first half, but there we get a glimpse into what he's capable of. Shot out of nothing here from a very narrow angle. Got the better of Faisal. Mention that they've scored the first goal in all 3 of their games this season, Geylang International. If you go back to the last campaign, they, towards the end of the season, were making a habit of scoring the first goal in those games as well. They scored the first goal in a 2-1 win against the Young Lions. Also, first goal in that 1-1 draw against Tampines, which was the last game of the season, which confirmed their place in the AFC Cup. Meanwhile here, looks nasty. He's in some discomfort here. I think it's Faris Farhan who's down on the deck, and they're suggesting, was there an elbow here he's asking for? Oh, didn't seem to be too much in that at full pace. And he's back up on his feet and okay to continue. Darente with a throw. And after the injury stoppage, Isdin will just send that long behind for a goal kick. Well, Noor Ali will be happy enough here. Surely was a bit frustrated that they threw away that 1-goal lead against the Young Lions after Kairid Nadim's stunning equaliser after Silvano Convalius had scored a sensational opener in that one. I suppose arguably you'd think that Faris Farhan was entitled to do better with that the chance he had. And one thing that Geylang will have this season, don't forget Maresh potentially could still make an impact on the bench here this evening. When you've got a player of Silvano Convalius' quality in the squad, you are going to be able to pop up now and then with a goal. I think the question Geylang are going to have is, can they keep a clean sheet? Well, they've gone half an hour without conceding, and that's a wonderful piece of play. Marvellous work from Isdin, who ghosted his player there and created a fine pocket of space that unfortunately his teammates just couldn't exploit as quickly as I'm sure Isdin would have liked to have seen. It's played long by Faisal. Faris, and Isdin's picked it up again. Now Isdin squares it to the middle to Elijah Lim. Now on from Ferdhouse, Harith Kanadi. Arguably the best passage of play and nicest passing and movement we've seen from Geylang in the game so far, but they're still being penned inside. Might change now. Silvano gets it to Faris, back to Silvano. Well, I don't think I've ever seen Geylang string as many consecutive passes together as this. It's actually a joy to watch, but it's ended badly because Suboy's away at the races and he's got Taniguchi in support. Suboy lays it off to the right-hand side. Shot comes in and it's 1-0 out of nothing to Albirex Niigata. Takahiro Tezuka, after Geylang had enjoyed their best spell of the game. Well, it just goes to show you can play all the nice little passes you want. If you can't penetrate, eventually you'll concede possession no matter how good you are. And when you concede possession against a team like Albirex Niigata, more often than not, they're going to make you pay. And it was Suboy that latched onto it. There were options left and right. He went to the option on the right-hand side. And up from fullback, Takahiro Tezuka slides it past Sida with a minimum of fuss. Tezuka's second of the season. And for the first time in their last 5 games, it's not Geylang that scored the first goal. It's the champions, Albirex Niigata. Well, that is a textbook example of how you can play as many nice, pretty passes as you like. If you can't find a way to take the ball forward while you're passing like that, eventually you'll lose possession. And Albirex capitalised like a flash. Now, what's Geylang's response going to be to this? Harith Kanadi trying to find Noor Lokman. Oh, that was a very robust challenge. I think free kick's probably just about the right decision there as Faisal went a-tumbling. So both home teams 1-0 in front in the first half of their respective AIA Singapore Premier League matches tonight. Albirex Niigata leading by a goal to nil here, courtesy of Tezuka. And Balestier Khalsa leading by a goal to nil against Tanjung Pagar United, courtesy of Faisal Rafi. So Isdin, here's a man who can deliver a set piece. It's going to be the outswinger by the looks of it. I'm sure Convalius will be the target. Sends it short. Interesting option. Plays it with Darren Tay. The 1-2. Now what can Darren Tay do? Sends it in there, tying up, hanging up, and Hashioka will be able to clear. Call from Darren Tay was for Elijah Lim to send that back to Zainul, and the youngster obliges. Zainul again, not afraid to go long from feet, Zainul, and that's a good ball to find Fariz, who tries to flick it on to Lockman. But for all that they've enjoyed some decent passing movement, Geylang, bar that Fariz Farhan chance that Silvano Convalles created, not too much for them going forward, not that much either really for Albirex Niigata. They scored from a half chance, really, the angle that Tezuka was coming at, and they've scored on a counter-attack as well. Darren Tate, nice touch to get it back to Fariz, who shows some good skills. Fariz in at close quarters, goes down under the challenge of Tezuka, and the referee not interested in awarding Geylang a free kick there. Well, credit to the ultras, they're still banging the drums. But we're going to find out, I think, about this Geylang team in the next 54 minutes or so. Will Maresh come on in the second half to try and add a bit of extra creative spark in midfield, because no one's particularly played badly for Geylang to this point. They just haven't really shown enough guile with their pretty movement and passing to actually go forwards. Darren Tay, in front of his manager, leaves the throw-in the end. Have they changed footballs there? I think that might have been what has happened. Darren Tay, Silvano's over on this near side for the first time this afternoon. He's going to drop to a green shirt, but can they maintain possession? Fariz goes down this time and wins another free kick. Well, they're winning plenty of free kicks inside enemy territory here, but they've got to start delivering with one of them. I make this the fourth set-piece opportunity they've had in this kind of region. And I don't recall Koga having to make a save resulting from either of them. The outswinger makes life slightly harder for Isdin here. The last opportunity they had here, they played it short to Darren Tay, as referee wants to speak to Kunimoto for being a bit of a... Not Kunimoto, is it? No, it's Nicky Singh. He's just giving a bit of a telling off to there. Darren Tay running. Isdin does spray it inside the area, looking for Ichikawa. Ichikawa heads it across the face of goal. There's no one attacking it. Might still come to Darren Tay. Just not really anyone near getting on the end of that after a good header from Ichikawa. Suboy goes down, referee says the ball was played, and Suboy, to his credit, no complaining, gets back on with things, and Geylang have cop-up possession again here. Suboy down the right-hand side once more, and that will be a free kick, or will the referee play advantage? No. Despite the fact that Hashioka was almost through on goal, their referees pulled them back. It's the right decision, and what's more, he's giving him a yellow card for diving, is he? Well, the replay will be interesting here. I'm not sure we've seen too many yellow cards for diving in the AIA SPL this season. Well, big call from referee Zulfikar. I thought initially he'd inadvertently not played the advantage, but he was bringing them back, and he thought about this. Now, have a look here. Well, it looks a foul for me from there, from Harith Kanadi. Maybe in slower motion, but let's give the referee the benefit of the doubt. Zulfikar, he was on the spot, and there wasn't too much protestation from Taniguchi, but not that they're the kind of group of young men that really are in for complaining much. Albirex Niigata, fine ambassadors for their club and country here in Singapore. Yellow card for diving. Third house coughs up possession. They can't keep doing that on the halfway line. That's what led to the first goal, giving up possession centrally. Here's the goal scorer, Tezuka. Hashioka looking for Taniguchi. Suboy out wide. Taniguchi's waiting for this in the middle if they can find it. Taniguchi misses the ball out. Geylang not convincing with their clearing though. And again, they cough it back up to a yellow shirt. Nicky Singh's heavy touch lets him down. Now Silvano is beaten to the ball. And Harith Kanadi belts it out. Anywhere will do. Chiku. Nice turn inside and reverse pass finds Hashioka. Hashioka against Harith Kanadi, gets the cross away. Oh, Zainul spilt it and nearly dropped it on the foot of Suboi. Keeper recovered though and tries to release Geylang quickly. Silvano's all on his own. What a takedown from the Dutchman. Silvano Convalius, he's got them away here. Fariz looking for Noor Lokman, and the clearance is sliced behind from a corner by Tokiwa. Well, I can see away from your camera shot there, Silvano Convalius giving the thumbs up to a wonderful clearance from Zainul. He had a lot to do, the Dutchman, played in Fariz well, and Fariz had the right idea trying to find Lokman. And that could have gone anywhere at the end, that clearance from Tokiwa. Albirex may have dodged a bit of this. Balestier Kausa go 2 up against Tanjung Pagar United. Balestier Kausa, the Tigers 2, the Jaguars 0. Looks like Tanjung Pagar United's long wait for a win is going to go on, and Balestier Kausa are set for their first win of the season, but they led 3-1 at the Young Lions. Remember, before only drawing 3 each earlier in the campaign. Lokman over to take it. Geylang now winning the corner race, 3-2, but still yet to really force Koga into making a save. Darren Tay is the option. Get back to Fariz. Darren Tay heads her up and goes past everyone. Ichikawa does very well to keep that in. Here's Faisal. It's over everyone again. Missing out Fariz on that occasion, and that'll be a throw to Albirex Niigata as we enter the final 3.5 minutes of the first half. Throw-in taken by Tokiwa. Darren Tay watches the ball in flight well. Back to Faisal. Zainul. Ichikawa. Oh, Ichikawa has lost out there, and the goal scorer Tezuka will pick it up. Here's Chiku. Always looking for that wide right ball to Hashioka, and he's found him again, the skipper. Oh, Hashioka's beating his man brilliantly. They're queuing over the box, Hashioka! And Darren Tay for the second time in this half has to just pass the ball behind. But on this occasion, Suboi lurking to get what would have been his 4th goal of the season. Look at Hashioka here, turning Harith Kanadi inside out. Harith Kanadi didn't know whether it was spring or summer then. Well, if they concede a second here, Geylang, they'll be kicking themselves. But they can be competitive in this game to this point. But 2-0 down is going to be some handicap, and it very nearly was 2-0 as well. Suboi, I think, got a touch to it, just didn't make a clean connection. Well, you'd be surprised, I think, the way things are going. If Norani didn't go to the substitutes bench at half-time, you've got the likes of Amy Recker and Marish, Chris Van Heusen as well, to maybe give them some extra width. Because Noor Lokman on his first start of the season is really the only man playing out wide. They're ignoring that left flank for large portions of this half, Geylang. Chiku. Tezuka. Back to Koga. Koga's looking for Hashioka. Might give another headache to Harith Kanadi, but Kanadi had got up to play the skipper offside. I'm being told there'll be 2 minutes of additional time. With all these hydration breaks and protocols now, the good old days of 1 minute being a nailed-on guarantee for half-time stoppages seems to be a thing of the past. Darren Tay, can they pinch an equaliser just before half-time? With balls through like that, it was well anticipated by Kunimoto. Darren Tay's header leaves Noor Lokman with work to do. Oh, nice work from Isdin. Oh, just couldn't complete the job. Isdin has shown some nice touches in this first half, but just haven't got that extra dimension at the moment, and Geylang to get in behind Albirex, Niigata, and of course defensively, Albirex, Niigata, I don't think once got in behind Balestier in that game before the international break. They've got in behind plenty of times on this occasion as Noor Lokman shields that out for a goal kick, which might just about bring us to the 45-minute mark. Indeed it does. We're over the 45-minute mark, just the 2 minutes to be added on for stoppages. They take the goal kick quickly. Ichikawa, Harith Kanadi, Silvano Convalius is going to get to this, and he's got Fariz in support if he can hold it up. Silvano can't find Fariz there. It was a strong header from Kunimoto. Nicky Singh to Takiwa. Kiki Krychek got the second goal for Balestier Khalsa, by the way. Kiki Krychek doubling the Tigers' lead at home against the Jaguars of Tanjung Pagar. Handball was the call against Takiwa there. Referee not buying it. Hashioka looking for Suboi, and Zainal clears with his feet. Noor Lokman then over the top. Silvano. Noor Lokman. No, he's pulled back there. He was pulled back. Looked to me that Nicky Singh pulled back the shot on Noor Lokman. If Albirex score from this, there'll be World War III. We'll have a look at this again if we can. I'm sure Noor Lokman had his shirt tugged by Nicky Singh. Not sure we'll get time before the break to have a look at that. Takiwa, if they score from this, Geylang will be incensed. Chiku. Tezuka. Spread wide to Taniguchi. Oh, Taniguchi's got it again. Goes for the snapshot straight at Zainal. Well, I think justice served there. It would have been a tragedy, I think, if Albirex had doubled their lead, courtesy of that controversial call. Fariz. Some space for Isdin. Now, what can Isdin do with some space, finally? Over the top, looking for Silvano. And Silvano's into the area, onside Silvano. Behind from Kunimoto, and they'll just about have time to take this corner. Well, is there going to be a twist in this first half tail, right on half-time? Geylang have had 3 previous quarters. Not done an incredible amount with them. Fariz fine it will be to deliver. The 2 giant figures of Ichikawa and Silvano. And in this situation, you wonder whether it's worth just maybe sending more players forward, because it's inconceivable the half-time whistle's not going to go the second this ball leaves the Albirex penalty area or goes dead. So Fariz looking for the delivery here. Plenty of targets to aim at. Fariz drifts it in. No one attacking the keeper. That's a criminal waste, and that does indeed bring us to half-time. Referee Zulfikar blows for the break with Albirex Niigata leading by a goal to 0, and a goal came after arguably getting International's best passing movements of the match, but unfortunately those passing movements were side to side and inside their own half. They played one pass too many. Albirex pounced, and after fine build-up play, Suboi sent it to the right-hand side, where Takehiro Tezuka, from a narrow angle, slid it past Zainal to give the champs the lead here at Jurong East. Half-time, Albirex Niigata 1, Geylang International 0. We'll have the half-time highlights for you, and all the news from Topayo, where Balestier Khalsa lead Tanjung Pagar United by 2-0 next. Stay with us. Welcome back live to Jurong East half-time. The champions leading by that Takehiro Tezuka goal to nil. Scored 12 minutes before the break after Geylang had been playing some attractive-looking passing, but it was one pass too many. They lost the ball. Albirex pounced, and after Suboi sent it to the right-hand side, it was the fullback Takehiro Tezuka who managed to slide it past. Let's have a look back at the match action. Hashioka has been very lively as always. Not once but twice Darren Tay was forced to pass the ball over the byline with Albirex threatening. On that occasion it was Nicky Singh who was lurking behind. They have had some chances. This was wonderful play from Silvano Convalius, and the header from Faris. If it's on target, Geylang probably opened the scoring. A nice bit of skill from Silvano on that occasion. Looked initially like he was going to try and just win a corner, but got the cross in well, and Faris just headering it wide. Zaino has not been forced into too many saves. Suboi, from a very narrow angle, forced him into one there, and then Ishikawa managed to mop up the pieces. Suboi, who has looked like a threat. They've got him behind Geylang far more frequently than they've got him behind Balestier in their last game here. That was the goal. Suboi sending it to the right-hand side for Takehiro Tezuka. The replay of that goal doesn't really do it justice, because Geylang had probably, I think, strung about 25 passes together before losing possession, and less than 5 seconds later, Albirex led. There's the tail of the tape. I can tell you, Geylang have had 4 corners rather than 3. Yes. Other game in progress is at Topayo Stadium. Balestier Khalsa, 2 goals to the good, looking for their first win of the season. Faisal Rafli after 24 minutes, and Kiki Krajcek 4 minutes before the break. Tanja Bagar United, it looks like their wait for a win is going to go on a little bit longer. But remember, Balestier Khalsa were 3-1 up against the Young Lions in the second half at Jalan Besar and didn't manage to get the job done. Okay, stay with us. We'll be back in plenty of time for the start of the second half at Jurong East. We've got the lovely Albirex cheerleaders on the big screen, unfortunately not in the stadium, and you've got the best seat in the house in the AIA Singapore Premier League, live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels, and One Play Sports. We'll be back in plenty of time for the second half.
is every choice you make. We are part of a global wellness program with over 1.65 million members in AIA across Asia. And in Singapore, we have more than 100,000 members on AIA Vitality. Members live healthier by knowing their health through online health assessments and screenings. They improve their health by logging exercises and enjoying the rewards to keep them going. And indeed, members are making improvements in their health. Even the vitality age gap has narrowed to less than a year. Best of all, you earn points for every activity. The higher your status, the greater the rewards, including up to 15% off insurance premium on selected AIA plans. To keep you going, there is the weekly fitness challenge with personalized targets to help pace and improve your fitness. When you complete the challenge, you get a spin on the Vitality Wheel to earn Vitality Coins, which you can use at the marketplace. That's not all. You also earn AIA Vitality Points for completing these activities. And very soon, you'll be on your way to Platinum status. And we sweeten the deal further with many exciting partner benefits that you can enjoy. With AIA Vitality, nothing gets better than a healthier you. So get onto AIA Vitality today because your health is every choice you make.
Welcome back live. The floodlights are on at Jurong East, second half, minutes away. Does look like there are a few storm clouds overhead. I do hope you're not thinking what I'm thinking. We've been blessed to avoid the lightning warning system here in Singapore for both our games today. Let's hope the rain does stay away with 45 minutes to play. Plenty of half-time changes to tell you about, and two of them will be of interest to that group of individuals as the rain starts to fall here. The Ultra Eagles, you can see the rain's falling. Let's hope the LWS system stays off. They are, I think, delaying coming out for the second half. Just to check that will be the case. Maresh is coming on for Faris Farhan, and Amy Rekha will replace Noor Lukman. So Amy and Maresh. Maresh, when he came off the bench, remember, in the first half against Tanjung Pagar, ended up scoring 2 goals, one of which was a penalty that he won. Now, as always, I thought, again, Nicky Singh didn't have the worst of halves there, but he will be replaced by Koga Suruhara. Or, just to correct myself there, it's not, is it? It's Kondo. Karuba Kondo. So Karuba Kondo will replace Nicky Singh, whose afternoon is done playing for the champions. And players are now coming back out onto the pitch. Just have a check for the lightning warning system to ensure it hasn't yet come on. And indeed it hasn't, so fingers crossed. The rain's falling, but no lightning warning system here. Be a nice cooling drizzle for the players. Will Geylang show more ability going forward in the final third now that Maresh and Amy are on the pitch? Still got an option on the bench in the second half if they want to spice it up with Chris Van Heusen potentially if they're chasing the game. Just confirming that Albirex have only made the one substitution at half-time, so Ong Yuen, the second of their mandatory 2 Singaporeans in the starting lineup, is still on the field of play. Subject to confirmation. You can see Maresh, who somewhat surprisingly wasn't in the starting lineup today, was plying his trade most recently in the Belarusian Premier League, which of course is one of the leagues in the world that did continue through COVID, one of the only ones in fact. Confirmation, I can see that Karuba Kondo is about to enter for Albirex, replacing Nicky Singh. There he is, just with Amy and Maresh. And they are still waiting for something, the officials. I do hope they're not waiting to see if the lightning warning system is about to go red, which would be a shame. If we were faced with a delay here, it's part of the furniture really, living in the tropics, the threat of lightning. And there's certainly a delay of some description for something. Oh, the officials now ready to come back on. It was the referee and the officials that were keeping us waiting. In their defence, I'm sure they were just waiting to check with regards to the lightning warning system, which for now stays away. And looking up into the sky as Maresh is confirmed as a replacement for Variz Farhan. Looking up into the sky, clouds don't look that ominous. It's just a little storm shower cloud really above us. There's Amy, who scored that goal against Hougang, the only goal Hougang conceded in that game before they went on to put 4 past Geylang. And they could do with him coming up with a goal now. Didn't score against Albirex in those 2 meetings last season, the 4-0 here and the 1-0 at our Tampines hub. They haven't actually scored a goal. What an incredible statistic this is. Haven't scored a goal away at Albirex. I'm just going back to when it is. It's a long time back. I think it might be, can't be right, 2014. You're telling me they haven't scored away 2014. I'll just check that for you. Yeah, it looks like that's correct. Goodness gracious me. Well, about time that run come to an end as Noor Lukman replaced by Amy Recker. And that little bit of drizzle seems to have been most brief, luckily, and we're almost set to get underway in the second stanza. They're underway already at Topayo. Balestier Khalsa 2, Tanjung Pagar United 0 in that one here. Only a goal in this. The defending champions leading Geylang, who, remember, had a player sent off within seconds of the restart when they opened their season last year against Albirex Niigata on this ground. I just saw Maresh on his knees praying to the heavens here. Can he have the same kind of impact off the bench here as he did in the game against Tanjung Pagar United? Takahiro Tezuka's 33rd minute goal at the moment, the difference between the two teams here. Live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page and One Play Sports. As straight away Hashioka picks up where he left off. That's flaring down the flanks and it's going to drop to an orange shirt. They're going to be in all kinds of trouble. Hashioka's there again across the 6-yard box. Can any orange shirt pull the trigger? The answer is no, and Amy's back there to help them tidy up, but the alarm bell's ringing inside 30 seconds of this second half for Geylang International. Starting this second half on the back foot. Here's the goal scorer, Tezuka. Oh, Darren Tay has lost out. And then Faisal loses out as well. And the substitute, Katuba Kondo, lets it out for a throw. Sure you can hear in the background the Geylang Ultras just striking up the band. Gonna need to play a different tune, Geylang, than they did in the first half if they want to try and breach this Albirex defence. Swing and a miss. Gets a second attempt at it, and that was completely wasted by Faisal, criminally giving away possession there, and Albirex are coming forward again. And that ball to Zainal in these conditions, you're always got to be careful when you let the ball bounce like that, but he did well. Now, what can Maresh do? His first touch of the game is not the best, but Harith Kanadi steams on by. Now, they could be short at the back with Harith Kanadi committed forward. I don't think that ball did go out, despite Geylang appealing that it did. Zainal. Ichikawa. Silvano headed it on, looking for Maresh, who's there against Hashioka. Maresh just about avoided the young-running Silvano Convalius with that touch, but there's an example that they might be more fruitful going forward, but they've got to hold firm at the back. Kondo, the substitutes look lively through these first 2.5 minutes. It's his cross that Harith Kanadi's going to have to deal with here. Doesn't deal with it that convincingly. Ong Yuen now picks up possession. Chiku into the area, Chiku. And Silvano is over to pick that up. Harith Kanadi. Silvano Convalius gets it to Maresh. Now what can Maresh do here? Maresh can get it inside. Well, just to confirm, obviously, there, clearly, Fariz is still on the pitch here, so I do apologise. We were given the wrong information regarding the Geylang substitutes, because unless my eyes are deceiving me, that is number 19 still on the pitch. So the substitution form, which I saw it with my own eyes, the form that was sent up from downstairs. There must have been a late change there. Now, can I see Elijah Lim? Was it Elijah Lim that instead made way? I think there's been a confusion with the numbers. It was 49 off maybe rather than 19. I'm just scanning the field to see if I can see Elijah Lim, and I think it was indeed Elijah Lim that made way. Apologies for sending you some duff information there, but of course it's significant in the fact that they are going to go with Fariz Farhan, Maresh in an advanced midfield position, and Silvano to try and get back into this. So they're having a go, Geylang. It's going to leave them vulnerable potentially at the back. Do get the feeling that we haven't seen the last of the goal scoring in this game. Harith Kanadi. As it stands, Albirex Niigata going back to the summit of the Singapore Premier League tonight, but Silvano goes down, and that's going to be a yellow card for Kunimoto, surely. And it is. So Kunimoto joins Taniguchi and Hashioka in the book. That's 3 yellow cards for Albirex now. None to Geylang, whose disciplinary record, as Norali referred to pre-match, only 3 yellow cards in the game so far. In the game, in the season so far, I should say. And of course this match was the beginning of their disciplinary problems last season when they had those 2 red cards on opening day. Now Isdin, he's got some figures to aim at here with that cultured right foot. Can he land this in front of Convalius? He's got Harith Kanadi as an option, drifted into the area, trying to put the keeper under pressure, flicked on, could drop anywhere. Oh, and that was half an opportunity, more than half an opportunity. Fell to Ichikawa, who didn't get a correct connection. It was a chance. Here's Convalius in the area. He can cause a threat, squares it. An orange shirt gets there, not a green one. They're capable of getting on the score sheet here, Geylang. Albirex, for all that their defensive record stands up to scrutiny this season and indeed last, don't look as secure defensively. Look at this. It dropped to Ichikawa, who hit a fresh air shot. He gets a sweet connection on that. It may well have been 1-1. Over the top, though. Oh, Suboy's getting goal side here. Suboy through on goal. They'll have to be very careful. Suboy, the bounce undid in there. And Geylang survive. Isdin grabs it well. Gets it to Harith Kanadi. He's got Maresh with him. Oh, that ball is asking an awful lot of Maresh. Keeper's dangerously waiting for this to go back into the area. Koga gets away with it. Yes, just to confirm, it's Elijah Lim. That was a mistake in the official slip handed to the 4th official. That may well have been what the delay was about. The slip that was sent up to us said Fariz Farhan was going off. It was actually the number 49, not with the 19. That's probably the problem there. Oh, nice turn from Taniguchi. Taniguchi down the left-hand side. Two-boy! Just past the post. How close is that? The flag was up. It wouldn't have counted. Suboy just unable to steer it goalwards. Meanwhile, back with a live action. Silvano at the other end is now offside. Doesn't like that decision, I don't think, Silvano. Have to live with it. Koga to Yamashita. Yamashita back to Chiku, who attempted to get the ball via Tezuka. And back to Koga, so Geylang are not able to get possession at the minute. They're going to have to hope that Albirex make the same kind of mistake that the Eagles did in possession that led to the first goal. But now, just like that, they change the gears. Albirex, lovely flick back. Oh, Hashioka! Oh, he's put it wide. Goal at the skipper's mercy, and it's wide. Well, look at that. The move looks so innocuous, but there's the difference between the two teams in the first half. Geylang played some slow, concentrated, pretty, but ultimately ineffective passing and just couldn't penetrate. But when Albirex did the same here, they changed gears instantly. And what about that? It was a Singaporean that was focal to it. Ng Yuen, the pull back to Hashioka, and he's got a score from there, really. Meanwhile, back with the live action, Silvano now. Game starting to open up all of a sudden. Silvano finds a pass over on that far side. Amy Reka gets it back to Darren Tay. Silvano's in the area. Can he bring this down? Touch gets away from him. He's getting increasingly frustrated, the Dutchman. As Balestier Khalsa at a third, it's another miserable afternoon for Tanjung Pagar United. Khalsa 3, Jaguars 0. Meanwhile, Suboy here. Lovely tackle. Really strong tackle from Faisal there. They haven't cleared it though, and nearly still go 2 behind. Another chance goes begging, and it's Taniguchi this time. Taniguchi, who scored in the corresponding fixture last season, got the 4th and final goal in that 4-0 win then. Chances all of a sudden mounting up here. Still not happening for poor old Tanjung Pagar United. Looks like Marko Kravic's Balestier Khalsa are going to get their first win of the season, all but confirmed now. Here's Fariz to Maresh. Haven't seen much from Maresh lately. We might see something from his now. Or Silvano gets it through to Maresh. Must score! Oh, he's put it wide! Well, it was wonderful build-up play. They can be encouraged by that, but how many chances will they be granted by Albirex of that kind of calibre? He simply has to score, the Brazilian. Selfless play from Silvano, who we know can pull the trigger from that kind of range. Inside he goes, and Maresh was through on goal. And I suppose you have to give a bit of credit to Takiwa, who did just enough to put him off. But it should be 1-1. Hashioka's in space if they can find him on this near side, and finding they do. Plays a nice one-touch ball to Ng Yuen. Ng Yuen looking up, finds Hashioka down the right. More warning signs for Geylang. Hashioka across the face. No one can get the touch. Well, no exaggeration to say we could have had 4 goals in this second half in the first 10 minutes. It's Zuzu with the 3rd goal for Balestier Khalsa. Zuzu makes it Balestier Khalsa 3, Tanjung Pagar United 0. Business picking up here at Jurong East. I don't think we've seen the last of the goal scoring in this one. Question is it going to be green or orange that nets second? Suboy on the turn, lovely turn from Suboy. Can he get the shot away? Suboy! They did just enough. The Geylang defenders on top of him to prevent the goal. Darren Tay was one of those players. I think it's gone behind for a corner. And it wasn't Darren Tay, my apologies, it was Faisal and Ichikawa who did enough to put off the Japanese centre forward. And Geylang International have all 10 outfield players back in the penalty area to defend this corner, because they can't afford to go 2 down. At 1-0, even with a couple of minutes left on the clock, they're still very much in this game. At 2-0, it becomes a problem. Silvano gets the head to it to clear. Gathered up well, and they come again through Kondo. Silvano, oof, my word, he sliced that when it's behind for another corner. Their mistake from the Dutchman. His ball through to Maresh moments ago really should have led to the game being 1-1. But Albirex have had their chances too in this second stanza. Karuba Kondo with the out-swinging corner. Kondo. Headed away only as far as Chiku. Chiku back to Kondo. Kondo's Crosses high and goes all the way out of play on the other side of the field for a throw to the Eagles. Well, Maresh is almost playing in a front three now for Geylang. Fariz and Silvano taking turns to drop deep, but Maresh is almost playing like an out-and-out striker here. More of an attacking midfielder, of course, by tradition. But you have to wonder if the roles had been reversed in that chance they created a couple of minutes back. If it had been Maresh playing Silvano, I think there's no doubt it would have been 1-1 here. But there's still plenty of reason to be encouraged here by Noor Ali. They're in this game. Albirex have not put it to bed just yet. And you get the feeling there'll be more defending to do. Silvano anticipated that ball, travelling long, gets it to Fariz. Fariz now wide. You got Maresh and Silvano waiting in the area. What's the delivery like? Not good enough. Along the ground, it's going to struggle to get past that Geylang backline as Ichikawa now gets it back to Zainul. That ball's hanging up nicely, but it's Kunimoto that wins it. He's got to be careful going in for those sliding challenges, bearing in mind he's on a yellow card. The rain's starting to fall heavier now, incidentally. But still no real heavy storm clouds overhead, so hopefully that's a sign that we won't need the LWS lightning warning system as we rapidly approach the hour mark. Still Albirex leading by that 33rd minute Takahiro Tezuka goal to nil. Reminder as well, the blockbuster Wednesday coming your way. Wednesday the 7th, 4 games. Here's Maresh, can he make up for the chance he missed moments ago? Not with attempts like that, he can't. I think he was looking for a different kind of run from Silvano. Another change is coming. Ong Yuen, the other Singaporean's about to withdrawn for Hanada Yasuhiro. The Albirex squad getting ready to make their second change. This rain's getting heavier. Noor Ali just having a chat with Harith Kanadi before he takes this throw. Yeah, just a reminder, blockbuster Wednesday coming up. The quadruple header, Balestier Khalsa Geylang. Lion City Sailors Albirex will be their headliner from Jalan Besar. Tampines Young Lions and Tanjung Pagar and Hougang. That's some task for Tanjung Pagar if they get thumped today to go to the Hougang and try and get something the way that Hougang are playing. Just to reiterate that game is actually here at Jurong East, an away game for Hougang. Still think Tanjung Pagar United are capable of causing a shock this season. But at the moment, they're starting off this campaign like they finished last, which was pretty much winless. Still waiting for that change to take effect. This might drop to Maresh this time. Maresh into the area, still Maresh! Well, it was a shot that was difficult to get away from the angle, and it's straight at the keeper, and Koga saves. He's frustrated, the Brazilian, but at least with him on the field of play now, and Amy Rekka, they are creating more chances. It's just that I think that's their first shot on goal, unless on target, I should say, unless I'm much mistaken. I think they may have had a couple previously as they get on with it quickly in the rain, which I think is assisting Geylang more than it is Albirex at the moment. Not easy conditions to cope with. But as they push forward, they can't be caught out lax at the back. Faisal maybe gets away with hesitating there by winning the free kick. And there's no question that Taniguchi is in some discomfort here with his knee. Faisal's down as well, clutching his ankle. And this is a concern, particularly bearing in mind Albirex, I think, had already announced their latest substitution. With half an hour to go, not officially a water break. And the cynic in me says that Taniguchi may have just stayed on the deck there because he's already on a yellow. I hope I'm incorrect. So unofficial water break with 28 to play. Still Albirex Niigata 1, Geylang International 0. But life in this game, it's not done and dusted yet. Certainly the game at Tapaya looks to be done and dusted. Balestier Khalsa 3, Tanjung Pagar United 0. Let's have another look at the goal that separates the sides as Faisal receives treatment for Geylang International after that coming together. It was Suboy onto Tezuka. I'd really like to see that goal in longer form because it came after Geylang had patched together 25 or so passes but didn't penetrate and eventually lost possession, and within seconds Albirex, Niigata, with that rapid transition they have managed to get the goal that at the moment separates the sides. And just a reminder now, across 1 3/4 games of football, Albirex have only managed 1 goal. Suboy has looked lively though. He's had opportunities to add to the 3 goals he's already scored this season, a brace in the opening game against Geylang and a goal in the 3-0 win against the Young Lions. Ong Yuen being replaced. Oh, he's through, Silvano. Flags up for offside, it wouldn't have counted. Yes, just to confirm, Ong Yuen being replaced by Yasuhiro Hanada. This is the second of the changes that coach Keiji Shigetomi's gone with. As Geylang are enjoying a decent spell right now. Maresh has had 2 golden opportunities. One he really should have scored with. He sent wide. The other one was slightly harder. Couldn't get the angle to get it past Koga. Over on that far side, Takiwa with the throw. Tezuka back to Takiwa. Chikawa gets there first, and now Faisal. An uninspiring game of head tennis just developing there. Albirex come up with the ball, but it had gone out of play, I think. So Geylang will get possession back. Faisal manages to find Fariz, tries to play it quickly. He's got pace to burn Amy, but the keeper Koga's going to get there first and let it drift over the whitewash for a goal kick. So we've seen Albirex go to their bench. A couple of times. Be interesting to see when Noradi decides to make his 3rd change, having made 2 at half-time. It's good work down that left-hand side. Oh, lovely pace. Suboy looks for the man in the middle, and it's Hashioka who's headed over again. Well, Hashioka's had 2 chances in this second half when, in normal circumstances, you'd expect him to have at least a couple goals. It might have actually been Taniguchi who got on the end of this. My apologies, this one was Taniguchi who headed over. My view of that just obscured momentarily. Oh, Maresh wins this well. Maresh, too heavy a touch, and Chiku takes it off his toes. Not quite happening for Maresh so far. Still 24 minutes to salvage that though. That's a good ball down the left, looking for Takiwa. Inside to Suboy. Takiwa's going to get this back. Takiwa, now Taniguchi. Taniguchi! What a save from Zainal. The save of the season so far from Zainal keeps Geylang in this. Well, Taniguchi could have had 2 in 60 seconds. That was stunning from Zainal, from point-blank range almost. Taniguchi just on the edge of the 6-yard box, and Zainal had to anticipate and react well because there was nothing wrong at all with the finish of Taniguchi. It was just a stunning save from Zainal. Another corner it leads to. Kuraba Kondo. Headed away by Kennedy. Headed back in. Zainal could have probably afforded to come and get that. As it is, Albirex are still pushing. They need to find a way of getting this ball out the danger area again. They're not doing a good job of it to this point. More time and space on the edge of the area, and what a committed challenge that was. And all of a sudden, Maresh is away at the races again. Maresh needs support. He's got Amy square if he can see him, and see him he does. Amy now, back to Maresh. Maresh looks for Harith Kanadi. Misses him out, goes to Silvadio Convalius. Convalius, he can hit them from range, we know that. Convalius squares it to Fariz, and that's a full-blooded challenge. And unfortunately for Geylang, coming out second best was Ferdaus. And I don't think Albirex are interested in kicking this ball out of play now. I don't think they're in need to either, really. I think we'll play up a little bit to Kiwa. Here's Tezuka. Now they are going to have to kick it out of play, I think, because Ferdaus is still on the deck. Geylang want them to. They need to play to the whistle here, Geylang. They might be caught cold. Down in the area, right on the edge of the area goes Kondo. Here's Taniguchi. Well, Taniguchi was booked for a dive in the first half. Kondo might have been lucky himself there, and now the referee does blow the whistle, and it's getting a little bit fruity out there with Taniguchi and Harith Kanadi. What's the decision going to be here? Ferdaus is still down, holding his knee on the other end of the field. It's getting a bit chaotic here at the moment. When he's holding that left knee, does not look in a good way. Meanwhile, there has been a free kick given, I believe, to Albirex in that corner of the field. Well, it's a substitute. Hanada over. Well, I'm giving him the thumbs up, so it's okay to go on. Is it, apologies, is it Amy or Ferdaus that's down there clutching the leg? I thought I saw a number 17 initially. Yes, it is Ferdaus. Thought for a minute it might have been number 7, Amy, but he's fit to continue. Is Ferdaus going to be okay? They have got Chris Van Heusen still to call upon from the bench if required. And that's going to add some time on at the end of the 90 minutes here as well, that stoppage, as we come into the final 20. But Geylang need to be on their mettle to defend this set piece that Albirex are about to deliver. 2-0, this game is over. 1-0, get the feeling, the way it's gone, that Albirex aren't bomb-proof. Just to update you as well, Balestier Kaos are still leading Tanjung Pagar United by 3-0 there. Well, they are going to make a change now. This time, I believe it is Fariz that's coming off. We had a false alarm on that earlier. He's going to be replaced by Chris Van Heusen. And that will be Noor Ali's last roll of the dice when that change comes. It's not coming just yet. It's Harith Kanadi and his defence look to try and repel another challenge, as Harith Kanadi, I'm understanding, has been shown a yellow card. So Harith Kanadi becomes the first Geylang player to go into the book. Hanada's delivery along the deck, nearly went past everyone. Geylang managed to get it clear, but it's unconvincing. Swung back in by Chiku. Keeper's not coming for this, but the flag's up for offside, I believe, against Taniguchi. Now we are going to take what's really a second drinks break in this second half, maybe even a third after some of the long stoppages we've had. The time added on is going to be interesting here as you get a look to see that effort. And it was Tezuka again, wasn't it, the goal scorer in the first half that nearly got enough of a touch on it. But when it swung back in, Albirex had at least one player, maybe two even, in an offside position. So this game is still very much in the balance. 18 to play, plus what must be at least at this point already 4 or 5 minutes. So still a half of a half to go. And Geylang have created enough chances, unofficially 10 shots on goal to Albirex Niigata's 21. There's been enough chances here really for a 6-goal thriller. As it is, we've had just the 1 goal, but the Ultras keep the faith. Great to see them out in force, making that long journey from east to west. If you're not familiar with Singapore, Geylang International, a club associated with the east coast of Singapore. Albirex Niigata with their adopted home here at Jurong East, even though it's called Jurong East. Not wanting to confuse you, it's in the west of the country. So it's a long old journey that they've made, bearing in mind they can't even take a comfortable seat in the stadium with the door still locked. Van Heusen is about to come on. Just confirm they haven't changed their mind about taking off Fariz after Ferdows's injury. No, it will still be Fariz who's coming off. It's huffed that he's puffed. Hasn't really made enough happen. Now, Chris Van Heusen's the kind of player that can make something happen, with Van Heusen down one flank, Amy down the other, and Maresh and Silvano Convalius in the middle. This game's not dead. Geylang are showing enough here to get something from it. Harith sends it long. Silvano with the flick on. Maresh, again, just not looking his sharpest tonight, is he? He's had a couple of chances. Might get another now because Van Heusen's on the ball. Chris Van Heusen didn't come through to Silvano. Van Heusen helping out his back line, gets it to Harith Kanadi. Well, you have to say, the way things look, and this is no disrespect at all to certainly Fariz, Noor Lukman and Elijah Lim, this 11 that Geylang are finishing with, you could argue, is stronger than the 11 they started with. So can they come in for a final 16-minute flourish here? He's a wily old operator, Noor Ali. He selected a bench in the same way, I think, that Marko Krajovic approached their game here with Balestier just before the break, to give them an option, to give them a lift in the second half. They've managed to keep the game tight enough, even though they're trailing, to now maybe give what Noor Ali might think is his best 11 on paper a chance to get something from this. It's still not beyond them, but they can't afford silly mistakes like that. That was what led to the first goal. Suboy charging through into the area, still Suboy. And they'll let that go behind for a corner, will they? No, Harith Kanadi taking no chances. I think he correctly surmised it would be a corner rather than a goal kick. Nice turn, Hashioka. Out for a goal kick, so defensively, job done. You get the feeling Geylang will have one more opportunity here. Can they convert it? Because Albirex Niigata, I'm not sure it's in their DNA to be chasing late winners if they're pulled back. Certainly they didn't look like they had a plan B against Balestier Khalsa, although they have impressed more in terms of getting behind the defenders here. So the yellow cards, 3-1. Taniguchi, Kunimoto and Hashioka for Albirex. Just Harith Kanadi for Geylang. Chris Van Heusen turns them well, Van Heusen. Van Heusen switches it to Amy. Now, can they find Maresh or Silvano off this? Amy looks for Isdin. Isdin, can he find the perfect pass? Tries to switch play to Silvano, who flicks it on to Van Heusen. More attractive build-up play here. But the final Van Heusen ball in too close to the keeper. No one really attacking it. Yamashita. Kondo. Now Hashioka. 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 Looks for the 1-2. Isdin's going to prevent him getting it back though. But Isdin can run into some space here. Isdin finds Silvano. They need to try and break quickly here, Geylang. There's some spaces in the middle of the park, but Isdin can't pluck that one out the air, and another promising move breaks down. Yamashita. Kondo. Well, that's a defensive mistake. He eventually recovers well to deal with it. Faisal. Now Silvano will chase this, but it'll get through to the keeper, Koga, before he causes the Albirex stopper any real concern. That's well won. Good challenge from Maresh. But again, loose pass, this time by Ferdaus. And they're inviting Albirex on an attacking foray once more. Game will be up if they concede a second, and they'll have to defend a corner after Darren Tay's left with little option but to turn the ball behind. Are they running out of puff here, Geylang? Have they got the energy to lift themselves for a final 10 minutes flourish? Got those 3 pairs of fresh legs on in Van Heusen, Amy and Maresh. Maresh really should have scored once, maybe even twice in this half. Albirex have missed some chances as well. Kondo over to take it. Karuba Kondo, half-time sub with the in-swinger. Kondo, Suboy's getting there. And in the end, Suboy's made it slightly harder for Chiku, but Chiku stood as well. Another ball delivered in, headed away. Only as far as Hanada, who's on the overlap here, but they've cut inside beautifully. Can they finish it off this time? Just past the post, but the flag was up for offside. Now that would have been interesting. Wonderful play by Kondo, who's given them an extra dimension in this second half, but the player that was trying to get the touch on it, was it Subai or Taniguchi, would have been offside if he'd have got a touch. One more striking up of the band. Silvano could be in. Silvano! Well, what happened there? It seemed to hold up in slow motion. He was onside, but just on this skiddy surface, the ball got closer to Koga. He got a touch, but couldn't get it past the Japanese keeper. He didn't look too enthralled with the prospect of Convalius herring down on him. Meanwhile, at the other end, some tired limbs out there now. Here's Suboy. Suboy! Went for the cheekiest of cheeky finishes into the side netting. Well, this is going to be a roller coaster, I feel, this next 10 minutes. Fasten your seatbelts, friends. The AIA Singapore Premier League Sunday night sunset football. The sun is well and truly set now, as Silvano just couldn't apply the touch there to level it up. Banastia Kausa are heading for their first 3-point haul of the season. They need Tanjung Magal 3-0. That win will lift them above Geylang. If the result stays like this into 5th spot, Geylang would finish the 4th match day of the season, way down in 6th. And this is a team, of course, who managed to bag an AFC Cup group qualification spot last season. AFC Cup, of course, they'll be playing in Singapore in June. Here's Tezuka. Yes, AFC Cup games will be coming to Singapore as they get to host 2 of those group stage games in June. Still waiting to hear where Singapore will play, or Silvano Convalius nearly got on the end of that. A suicidal back pass for Yamashita. They dodge a bullet here. Albirex, still to their credit, coming forward, trying to get a second goal that would kill the game off, as Van Heusen was initially furious with that decision. And Harith Kanadi will release Maresh. Maresh will look for Silvano. Convalius gets the turn in, but a heavy touch, and Albirex themselves, it's not just Geylang who are tiring here in the spitting rain. There's a chase on here. Ichikawa's going to have to just shepherd this out to prevent Taniguchi from getting there. It's behind for a goal kick. Maresh and Convalius, neither of them trying to attack that ball, which means Kondo's got an easy path to find Taniguchi. Yeah, that was a rush clearance, but Amy might pick up this. Now Amy needs support. Silvano Convalius in the middle. Maresh arriving too, as is Van Heusen. There's green shirts in the box if Amy can find them. Nearly found Convalius, not quite. Here's Ferdhouse, and Ferdhouse can pick it up. What can Ferdhouse do? Ferdhouse spraying it to Van Heusen. Van Heusen to Maresh. Maresh trying to find Convalius, and they just can't get the shot away. Can they now with Ferdhouse? They can, but it's straight at the keeper. I tell you something, this is not the invincible Albirex of old. Geylang should arguably be level in this. They've dodged some bullets themselves at the other end, but nothing's really gone right for them in the penalty area in the second half. I don't know what on earth Harith Kennedy was trying to do there. All he's intended to do is give possession back to Albirex as we get another look at this chance. Maresh find Convalius, Ferdhouse finally managed to get the space for the shot. And head in the hand stuff from Maresh again. Here's Hashioka. Tezuka. Kiku. Over the top, that's handball. That's cast iron handball there. He's been very, very fortunate not to concede a free kick right on the edge of the area. Faisal wouldn't mind seeing that again. We might look at it after Maresh. Sends Geylang forward once more. Silvano hasn't got the legs to get there in front of Hanada. Free kick on halfway. Well, I can only assume with that handball, and again, you've got to give the referee the benefit of the doubt. Referee Zulfikar that he thought Faisal's hand was in a natural position. It looked to me to the naked eye that Faisal lad handled that when he thought he'd lost the flight of the ball. Can't really be sure unless we see a replay. Meanwhile, Geylang enjoying lots of possession. Here's Ferdhouse. Silvano. Silvano's through, but he's going to be penalised for the pullback, and that will alleviate the pressure again. And Zulfikar, I think, got that one right. Did he get the handball right, though? Let's have a look at this. Have a look at Faisal's, that's handball. His right hand, it wasn't in a natural position. By the letter of the law these days, that's handball. And it would have been right on the edge of the area. Koga. Darren Tay loses out. They've got to be careful because Taniguchi's lurking, and Taniguchi, hands all over them there. Van Heusen gives Hashioka what in effect is a free header. Still 5 minutes, and there'll be at least 4, maybe even 5 minutes of added time to come at the end of this game. There's plenty of football still to be played here. Spraying it wide, look at Hashioka, who's been such a fixture down this right-hand side for the whole 85 minutes so far. Here he is again, Hashioka. Inside, shrugs off the challenge, Hashioka. Thought he might have had a pop for goal there, but are they looking at the clock and trying to wind it down? Tezuka. Good leave, might find Taniguchi. And that's going to be a foul against Taniguchi. He's on a yellow card, remember, as Ichikawa goes down. Some very, very tired legs out there. Istin had a quiet second half. Istin, he's shown some glimpses in the first, but he looks to have run out of puff in the second. He gives that ball away cheaply. Suboy does well with Tezuka. Suboy out to the left-hand side. Keep an eye on Kondo on the overlap. It could come to Kondo. Needed to really hit that first time. The way it was skidding off the service, and it's behind for a goal kick. Maresh has got time, didn't realise it. Had all the time in the world to bring that down, and Silvano Convalius showing his frustration. And I think Silvano and Convalius having a couple of words with each other that wouldn't have been safe for broadcast in case our pitchside microphones picked them up. Van Heusen should get to this safely enough, and he does. Now Van Heusen. Convalius still grafting away. He's not giving this ghost up yet, Convalius. There was a pull of his shirt there as well. Over the top, looking for Van Heusen. And again, they should clear when he gets away with one there, Yamashita, not for the first time in this second half either. That's a miscue from Taniguchi. Now, what can Darren Tay do playing it out from the back? Darren Tay looking for Convalius, and Convalius will bring this down and control it. Now, where's Maresh? Maresh is on the edge of the area. He gets it back to Ferdhouse. They need a runner here. Ferdhouse, the runner's come from Amy. Amy gets there, he gets a touch on it, but just can't bring it down. And being told there's a final substitution coming here, and it's going to be Taniguchi, who's on a yellow and has looked tired in the last couple of minutes, making way for Suzuki. So Taniguchi about to go for Fumi Suzuki. Here's Istin. Silvano, he's left that. Chase on for Amy. Not sure that was the right ball to take, but they get away with it. Koga's in possession. Ballister Khalsa make it 4-0 now. Tanja Bagar really are having a tough time of it, aren't they, despite seemingly have strengthened in the close season. And that will make it their 4th straight defeat at the start of this season. 2 minutes now, clock slowly being eaten up by Albirex. Ichikawa. It's over the top, Harith Kanadi. Loses out to Taniguchi. He's about to be substituting Taniguchi. Can he win a corner before he goes off? No, he can't. Goal kick, and that will see Taniguchi replaced by Fumi Suzuki for the final couple of minutes as they bring on a striker, which might raise some eyebrows, but I don't think it will have too much of an impact on the shape they've been playing. He's been playing in a very advanced role, Taniguchi. Well, all eyes very shortly on how much Zulfikar Mustafa adds on at the end of this game. There's got to be at least 5 minutes. If there's anything less than 5, I don't think Norelli will be very happy. A couple of long injury delays, multiple substitutions and a water break. Silvano. Not managed a shot on goal yet, Silvano, really. He's been involved in some great build-up play, including playing through Maresh, who should have scored early in the second half. Faisal. No nonsense. Defensive clearance. Away from danger. Goal scorer at the 4th goal is Kiki Krajcek with his 2nd of the game for Ballister Khalsa. Tigers in the Jags 4-0. That game is into injury time as well. The amount of injury time being played there is not going to be as significant as the amount of injury time being played here. We'll find it out shortly, but Suzuki's through. If they get a second Albirex, it won't matter how much injury time they play. Ferdhouse, though, picks it up for Geylang. He finds Amy, who gets it back to Istin. Istin to Maresh. Maresh couldn't get the better of his man initially, but does well to battle back to get it in the second stage. Plays it through to Silvano. Oh, but Hashioka's there and Silvano pulls him back cynically. Well, they are saying there is 3 minutes of added time being played here, and that is absolutely scandalous. How on earth can there be 3 minutes of added time in this game? Extraordinary. We've had basically 3 drinks breaks, 1 official, 2 unofficial, while they dealt with 2 lengthy injuries. We've had multiple substitutions as well. Norali cannot be happy. Well, it's so subjective. I don't mean to give the officials a tough time, but football has to find a way to make this, the amount of time that's being added on, a bit more uniform. Because there seems to be no rhyme or reason about it these days. Well, I'll keep an eye on how much Zulfikar does add on, because it's a minimum of 3 minutes, of course. But I have to say that surprises me. Particularly when a game is this tight. You can understand they may be cutting corners of the time added on over at Topayo, where Ballister Khalsa lead 4-0, but not so here. It still may be enough, though. Geylang inside 2 minutes to remain. Ferdhouse. Belted clear. And now Zino has to be careful, and he does just that. Under pressure from the substitute, Suzuki. Sends it long. Look at Ichikawa, who's been employed as a makeshift attacking midfielder. Maresh, they'll get a free kick. That was an awfully long advantage, and when the whistle went, Maresh was actually in possession. So Zulfikar there. What about you in this situation? They're furious with the referee, Darren Tate, and Istin. But they've just got to throw everyone up here. Can they create enough chaos in the Albirex defence to get an injury time last gasp equaliser? Istin will drift it into the area to try and get Silvano. Convenis has headed it, and they get there, and it's off the line. But the flag was up, it wouldn't have counted. Silvano got ahead to it. It was never going to be strong enough to get it past the keeper, but Ichikawa, who's now got double cramp by the look of things, Nearly got the finishing touch, but he would have been judged offside, I think. And that in itself was a tight call. It may have even been called for the high foot on the keeper there, in fairness. You tend to get penalised for that now. Well, just when referee Zulfikar blows his whistle, here's going to be very interesting. There's officially, well, a minimum of 3 minutes, only 10 seconds left. There should have been at least 4 or 5 minutes. 5, probably closer to 4 played. And Geylang have been creating chances. Suzuki over the top. Well, to his credit, the referee is going to add a little bit on here as Harith Kanadi is going to see Suzuki try and mug this out for a corner ball. It's a throw. Harith Kanadi, assistant referee, didn't look entirely convinced there by it. Well, a win's a win, and it looks like Albirex are going to squeak past Geylang here in a game that really looks certain to have more than the 1 goal it seems to have provided, as Albirex get a corner, and that really should be the end of the game now. Again, the players a little bit miffed with that call. Normally we'll think what might have been here, as the full-time whistle has gone at Topayo. Balestier Khalsa 4, Tangible United 0, and the full-time whistle is about to go here as well. Well, we're going to play at least 4 minutes of time added on, which was more like it, and Geylang's heads have dropped now because they know Albirex will just be able to play this kind of tomfoolery for at least another 60 seconds. Suzuki, well, they can do this all day long, can't they, Van Heusen? It's another one. Most frustrating thing must be as a footballer to try and get the ball out of this situation. Well, the added time is going to be more as it should have been now. I can see Keiji Shigetomi, so looking at the referee saying, why aren't you blowing the full-time whistle? But that's because I think, Mr. Shigetomi, that 3 minutes added on was never going to be correct. But that will do us now. We ended up playing 4.5 minutes of extra time, which may have still been on the lean side. Silvano Convalius is down on his back. Can't believe what he's been part of there. Geylang had their chances, but ultimately it's a repeat of the 1-0 scoreline that was the outcome the last time these two teams met when Albirex visited our Tampines hub last season. It was a much better showing than Geylang put on when they came here at the start of the last campaign. They finished the game with 9 men and lost 4-0, but ultimately it's a fruitless visit for Nur Ali's boys to Jurong East when they play Albirex Niigata. That tends to be the case, and it's been that case again. Keiji Shigetomi's boys go back to the top of the AIA Singapore Premier League, having been temporarily passed by Hougang after the Cheetahs win yesterday. And boy, oh boy, does this set up a fascinating Wednesday night now. Remember, on Wednesday, a quadruple header for you. Balestier Khalsa Geylang, Tampines Young Lions, Tangible United and Hougang, and the Lion City Sailors take on Albirex in a top-of-the-table clash. But here at full-time, it's finished. Albirex Niigata 1, Geylang International 0. Takahiro Tezuka's 33rd minute goal, the difference between the sides. So let's have a look back at the best of the action from this Sunday sunset football night at Jurong East. Lovely work from Taniguchi down the right on this occasion, who played in Hashiogi, been a threat all game, and Darren Tate had to just put that one behind. They managed to get in behind Geylang far more than they got in behind Balestier Khalsa when they last played a game in the Singapore Premier League. Darren Tate with Silvano Convalius, a rightful turn that put the ball onto the head of Fariz, who just couldn't guide it goalwards. Geylang had chances in this game, make no mistake about that. It was the kind of game where you scratch your head thinking how there's only been 1 goal. Another chance to look at that wonderful piece of skill from Convalius, but Fariz unable to finish. Zainul made a stunning save in the second half. His clearance that time, though, led to a narrow-angled shot from Suboy, which Zainul managed to save. The goal when it came really came about after a sustained spell of Geylang passing it around. Suboy switching it to the right-hand side for Tezuka, who came up with his second goal of the season, having been on the score sheet against Hougang as well. How on earth did Hashioka miss that one? Pass to the post when put clean through after more wonderful build-up play. It was another great opportunity. Lively work from Ong Yuen. helped create that opportunity, the Singaporean, who once again wouldn't last the 90 minutes. Fariz and Silvano Convalius linking up well to play in Maresh, and Maresh with Geylang's best chance, just like Hashioka at the other end moments before. He sent that one wide. Lovely play from Silvano to set that chance up. Geylang did pressure for an equaliser. Maresh again it was, who this time drove through on goal, but for a narrow angle. Fancied obviously taking on his right foot rather than his left, and that gave Koga a relatively straightforward save, as the Brazilian's frustration was clear for all to see. Zaino would produce the best save of the game. Have a look at this from point-blank range from Taniguchi. Wonderful keeping from Zaino to keep his side in it. One of the saves of the season so far. They would huff and they puff Geylang, but they just couldn't get the equaliser. And ultimately, I suppose on balance, you'd probably say Albirex marginally worth the 3 points, but there wasn't much in it. And Albirex, for me, aren't the same strength of side that took the title last season. So as the night draws in here at Jurong East Stadium, a check out on the tail of the tape. There you can see Albirex Niigata winning the shot count, but that doesn't really do the closeness of the game justice. And incidentally, worth noting as well that Albirex Niigata, 3 yellow cards to Geylang International, just 1. Hamith Kanadi, the only Geylang player going into the book. But Albirex Niigata ultimately are back to the top of the AIA Singapore Premier League table tonight. And they'll have to defend that top spot in a tricky game on Wednesday when they go to Jalan Besar to take on the Lion City Sailors. That'll be our feature game. Just to wrap up week 4 results for you, Hougang United thumping the Stags 5-1 in the big result of the weekend. The Sailors coming out on top against the Young Lions by 3-1. Balestier Khalsa, their only win, their first win of the season and their biggest win by definition. 4-0 winners over Tanjung Pagar United, and Albirex squeaking past the Eagles here. So we'll get confirmation for you now of the table. Albirex Niigata back to the summit, where Hougang United dropped to second. The Sailors are third by virtue of goal difference ahead of Tampines Rovers. Balestier Khalsa's win takes them above Geylang International into 5th. And Tanjung Pagar United, of course, remain rock bottom with no points and a goal difference of -12 after their first 4 games of the season. So have a look at that table and remember it, because what it does do is set up Wednesday night very nicely, thank you very much. Our feature game will be at Jalan Besar. The Lion City Sailors taking Albirex Niigata, second against first there. Oh, sorry, third against first, I should say. Of course, I'm doing Hougang a disservice there. Tampines Rovers down to 4th. It's not too often they're used to seeing themselves 4th in the table. They'll get back to winning ways against the Young Lions. Tanjung Pagar United looking for that elusive first win in years. They entertain second place Hougang. Apologies, Cheetah fans, give you your due deference there. Second place Hougang visiting this stadium, Jurong East, to take on Tanjung Pagar United. And Balestier Khalsa will be looking to build on their big win today as they take on Geylang International, who will feel a little bit aggrieved they didn't get something from Jurong East here this afternoon. That just about does it then for round 4 of the AIA Singapore Premier League. Stay safe wherever you are. Don't forget to join us on Wednesday for our quadruple header, and check out the SPL show with Farah Naya when it is posted on One Play Sports early next week. We'll see you again for more live action on Wednesday. But from Jurong East, it's finished. Albirex Niigata 1, Geylang International 0.